Yes, it's time to return to glorious standard definition, as I'm afraid I won't be able to show you 17 minutes of HD footage anywhere in the near future. I have got a Dark of the Moon Wheeljack here. When it came, I just thought it's something that's confused me a bit, and I just have to put that into video and do a review, because what I pre-ordered, well, what I thought anyway, was Takara Q. I've seen the packaging, it says down there, it doesn't say Wheeljack, it says Autobot Q on the Takara version, and then you've got the little like trading card thing and then stickers with Japanese text on, and none of that is present on this version. It's all, you know, tech specs, which are very nice, and a full bio, which I suggest you pause and read because it's excellent and sort of portrays the sort of scientist I would love to be. But nowhere does this say Takara. Everything screams Hasbro, and this is what confuses me so much. Hasbro cancelled this figure. This and the Wavemate Soundwave. Yet there are Hasbro versions of these figures. So where has this come from? Were they going to release them and then no shops would actually buy them to sell them? I have no idea. I am perplexed by this and just feel that it's an enigma, a riddle within a mystery that needs exploring through a video review, or at least just showing you the packaging and saying, "Oh, I don't understand," because maybe you know something that I don't. So let's crack this Robo-Zombie Einstein out and take a good gander at what is actually a rather rare figure. Well then, let's begin with Wheeljack's vehicle mode. I must say, this is probably the main reason I wanted to buy this figure, just to have a Transformer that is a real car that I have actually seen on the road. It's all very well with your Camaros and Hummers and all that sort of thing with the licensed vehicle end of the movie line, but they're all American cars and I've never seen them, and it feels so good to finally have a European car, because this is a Mercedes. On the back, you won't be able to see, it says E550 there in a completely generic font that really doesn't look like the badge on the real car, but it's nice to have a proper nice European car. It looks completely accurate. I mean, I know this is like a new model car, to be honest, but again, I have actually seen a couple of these driving around, so that makes it infinitely better than all the sports cars, all the General Motors stuff you've had from movie lines before. He rolls nicely, despite the fact you've got this sort of big chunk underneath, which is his chest, which just sort of hangs precariously close to the floor. He's a really nice colour as well. I love all this blue. It isn't really shiny, but it's very, very close to being metallic. It's just really nice shade, and all of the paint apps you want are there, on the wheels, on the front. You've even got the little Mercedes badge on there. Tail lights on the back, it's all there. This is a perfect vehicle mode. The only thing that would make it better is some opening doors, I don't know. But also, something which would make it a lot better is being able to store all of these weapons you get with him on there. Here is the mech tech that he comes with, which is basically, well, hold it like that and it's a toolbox, or hold it like that and it's a gun, because you've got a sort of little barrel in there, the grey bit. Pull on that and a saw blade flicks out and spins round, so it's a bit like Ratchet's weapon, but it doesn't spin anywhere near as powerfully. That can go on one of the two holes in the top of the car and make it look really silly. And yeah, what hasn't got anywhere to go is, number one, the big spear that he comes with that just sits on his back in the film and he never actually uses. That has a clip-on point, but there are no clip-on bars anywhere on the vehicle mode, so you've got to sort of chuck that aside. Then you've got what is like a little nail gun. Again, it's got a clip-on point, but, well, I suppose it's got a handle that you could sort of stick in the hole. You could sort of find somewhere for that to go, I suppose. Then you've got what looks like a power drill. Again, that has a clip-on point, but nowhere to go. Yes, it's great that this figure comes with all these different accessories, but they have nowhere to go when you've got him as a really nice car. I mean, I have found that with the MechTech weapon here, there is a bar in the middle. That bit there is actually clip compatible, so you could stick the spear on there and then have that on the top. It's a bit more storage, but then it just clutters up the vehicle mode even more. And what's worse is when you turn it over, there's a good few cavities under here that they could have just made a little bit bigger, or no, I feel like this at least could have somewhere to squeeze in here, but it just doesn't go anywhere, and that's a bit of a shame. So, on to robot mode then. And of course, this being a Dark of the Moon figure, the transformation is a bit more intuitive and interesting than previous movie figures, and I must say I do like it. First thing you've got to do is come around the back and just sort of lift the back end of the car up and put it against the back windows. Then if you can sort of get underneath the sides here, lift the entire top of the car up and off and out like that. Then take the sides here, untab them and rotate them round, and that gives you enough clearance to spin at the waist. I suppose might as well get the legs out of the way here, so split the top of the car, and then you want to take these bits which were halves of the windscreen and I would say gently angle them back, because it feels like, well, if you do that too hard they're just going to snap. And then bring the feet down, fold everything up at the back and put a little spike up. Second to first, same as the first. What you want to do now is just take the top here under the wheels, which you'll see vaguely looks like some arms, and pull those bits out. Just so they're sort of off-centered like that, because if you pull them all the way out, you can't get these sections on the side, which are the front doors, swung round to his back. Then you can pull the arms down, extend everything out if you like, and sort all that out. So you've got that, and then bring the pieces which were, well, the front sort of headlight pieces up. And then you have this big sort of flap, which is the hood of the car, that really should feel like kibble, but it folds away so tightly on the back there that you just don't notice it. Then you can open the chest up, grab his head from in here, which is actually quite difficult. Yank that out, put it back, and put those bits to his chest, I suppose. And there you have Q Wheeljack in robot mode. This is a design which I find it very hard to explain why I like it so much. Yes, the head sculpt is a bit weird. Switching back to my old camera, I'm going to have to put a picture of that in there just to show you its full, strange, mustachioed glory. But suffice to say, it isn't quite right. When you look at the film, you sort of see that yes, he's got this moustache and he's got this hair on the side and like glasses just sitting on his nose and all those sort of details, but they seem to have captured that quite incorrectly here, because where his moustache is, and it's painted like that, yeah, it's all good, but how it's been sculpted, it looks more like teeth than a moustache. It just doesn't look right. What he does have, however, is some hair piping, so they sort of glow like they do in the film, or like G1 Wheeljack's ears do. That's a nice touch. Now, as I said before, this flap on his back should sort of feel like kibble, but it doesn't. It's another Dark of the Moon figure that you have everything fold up really nicely on. Of course, there are actually quite a few Dark of the Moon figures where stuff doesn't fold up very nicely, but this is alright. I suppose I sort of feel like this bit here could have hinged up and gone flat to the back as well. But you have got a couple of MechTech ports in there to stick stuff on, and a clip-on point on his back for the spear to sit on. Oh look, movie accuracy. I love all the sort of paintwork on this figure as well. I know that Dark of the Moon figures aren't really known for their abundance of paint, but all these nice gold pieces and the silver bits just come off looking really good, and then the plastic itself looks really good. You haven't got a lot of grey, only like elbows here I suppose. Everything just looks really nice, and there's something about the overall shape of the robot mode I really like as well. Nice thick legs, these really poseable but yeah I suppose a bit skinny arms, and you just got all this detail everywhere. You just can't go wrong with this bot mode. However, it seems you can, because while his arms are articulated out the wazoo with double elbows and swivels and ball joints, his head is on a ball joint. He's got sort of a waist swivel, but the bits on the back hamper that. The hips go everywhere you want them to, and then from there on you encounter a problem because of all this stuff hanging off the backs of his legs and the side here, this piece. You really don't get any knee movement at all. They'll go forward nicely, but it just won't go back. You can sort of angle stuff to get out of the way a bit more, but really that is as far back as they'll go, and that's a real shame because with a figure like this it's got such nice big chunky legs, I want to be able to pose those legs. If you've watched enough of my videos you'll know that I think lower legs are one of the best looking sections on the Transformer. Oh man, this guy has ones that look as good as this and you can't bend them. It just, oh, it's just so annoying. Really, for this guy's character you're not going to get him in too many dynamic poses like that because he is just the old guy that just sort of potters around somewhere and gives you insane weapons and just blows stuff up. He doesn't exactly need to be giving you any sort of knee jutting poses. Speaking of weapons, he can of course use all the ones he has. So you've got the little nail gun which can fit in his hand, and the drill which thankfully, due to the way his hand is sort of sculpted open like that and the way this handle is, it just sort of clips in the side. So, you know, you can use his tools, which is a really nice touch. I just love the fact this is a wheeljack that actually comes with a multitude of different tools, not just guns or swords, but I'll get to that in a minute. You can attach his mech-tech weapon to the sides of his arms like that and get the saw going quite well. Or you can have him hold it by that port, I suppose, but it doesn't really look right like that. It's got a handle here, but it's not a 5mm handle, which means it'll only fit in his hand if you sort of jam it in an angle and then sort of twist it until it sort of sits there tight. There he's got a gun, I suppose, with some legs on it, but it's okay, it's good. But I think the best way of holding this is just like that, with the handle. There we go, he's got his toolbox, ready to go fix some stuff. Now you'll see under his arms, he's got these clip bars here, which does allow you to actually store all of his tools in robot mode. Thanks to the little clip-on points the drill and the nail gun have, you can just go ahead, stick them in his armpits and they're there when he needs them. Yeah, because everyone stores everything hanging off their, well, nipples. If you want, you can store the mech-tech weapon on his back there. Sort of gets in the way with the spear and everything and sits at a jaunty angle. So it is a lot better if you just have him hold it in his hand. Of course, he can hold the spear as well, which looks pretty good, but of course it is mostly handle and you've just got this little blade at the end. And for some reason they've put the clip-on point on the side of the blade, so it all seems a little bit impractical, but it looks good, and at least he's got a nice big melee weapon. Double-handed, baby, look at that. So, just for a comparison, here is Wheeljack with Generations Wheeljack. And Prime Wheeljack. Oh, the joys of having my camera on some wheels, eh? Look at that. As you can see, he obviously doesn't really fit in with any other Wheeljack, just because, well, he's not white with red stripes. There was going to be a repaint of this guy that was exclusive to the Asian market. Well, I mean, I suppose this guy was exclusive to the Asian market. That was going to be in normal sort of G1 Wheeljack colour scheme with a new, more G1 sort of head. but that just hasn't surfaced and it's probably been cancelled. Of course, with the fact he's got 5mm hands, you can go ahead and give him weapons from other Wheeljacks if you want. Swords or spanners. Yeah, you've got that option. Ultimate Wheeljack of Death! I strongly believe that this has to be the best Dark of the Moon figure I've got. Possibly, at a stretch, it's the best one out there. There's still a good few I never picked up. I don't have any of the leader figures. But I would say this is definitely the best deluxe one out there. I mean, I paid a lot to pre-order this guy, but I've got to say he was worth every one of those £30. It just feels like you get so much more for your money with this figure compared to other deluxe Dark of the Moon ones. I mean, all the accessories, a great paint job, a really nice licensed vehicle mode. There really isn't anything more you could want from this figure. And it's just a lot of fun as well, which just makes me a bit sad to think that with this guy not being available at general retail, that kids aren't going to be able to go and pick one of these up and just properly play with this guy. It's such a good design, there's some really good playability to it, and I just feel really sorry for the designers when they finally churned out a really good design that was just a really good toy as well as a good figure, and kids aren't going to be able to appreciate it. So I would say, if you can swing the money, because, well, this guy doesn't cost as much as he used to, but it's still more than you should pay for a deluxe figure, just get this guy, really. If you're going to get one Dark of the Moon figure that you couldn't find in a shop, let it be Wheeljack, because he's just the best. The best! Alas, poor Wheeljack. I knew him well, Sideswipe.